Hello students, welcome to All Force e-learning channel. This is K. Nageshwar Rao, your physics faculty. Today we are dealing with the session number 88, second year NEET session number 88. In the last session we have discussed about effective resistance offered by the combination of resistors. We have taken few resistors in series and few resistors were taken in parallel combination, and we have seen what the effective resistance is, and we have seen few key points connected to the effective resistance as well, isn't it? So let us quickly recollect what has been completed. If a series combination is considered like this, let us say battery is connected, V, resistance is R1, R2, R3. If a current I is flowing through this one, potential difference across this one V1, across R2 V2, across R3 V3, then effective resistance of series combination RS is written as R1 plus R2 plus R3. If n number of resistors are taken up to Rn, okay, the potential across each resistor like V1 can be expressed as, actually V1 is what? I into R1. Through all these resistances, same amount of current passes. That's why we call them as, we say that they are in series combination, isn't it? So here this I can be written as what? V is equal to IR. I is equal to V by R effective into R1, isn't it? So further this RS is what? Just now we have written R1 plus R2 plus R3. So V R1 by R1 plus R2 plus R3. Like that you can find out potential drop across any of these resistors, isn't it? V2 is equal to what? V into R2 by R1 plus R2 R3. V3 is what? V into, in place of R1, what you will get? R3. R3 by R1 plus R2 plus R3. Like that you can calculate potential drop across all the resistances. Okay. So these are few key points that we have discussed in connection with series combination. Okay. In connection with the parallel combination, let us see. Like this, three resistances were connected in parallel combination. Okay, we will assume like that. A potential V is supplied, a current I is passing through the circuit. This current gets bifurcated into three parts. I1, let us say this is I2, this is I3, this is R1, this is R2, and this is R3. Okay, so here what was our conclusion regarding effective resistance offered by the circuit? Rp is equal to, in fact it's better if you take 1 by Rp because we are having 3. So 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. If you wanted to write expression for Rp, R1, R2, R3 by R1, R2 plus R2, R3 plus R3, R1. Like that you can write. Okay, coming to the current passing through each branch, if you wanted to talk about that, like the way potential drop across each resistances, each resistor was written like this. No, here you can talk about current passing through each branch. Okay, let us see how it can be written. I1, if I wanted to write I1 equation, how it can be written? I1 is equal to potential across this resistance R1, which is how much? V by, what is the resistance offered by this branch? R1. See, whatever three resistances are there, we say that they are in parallel combination if they are, their two ends are connected to a common potential, if they are maintained at the same potential difference. Okay. Here, whatever this V is there, that can be written as total current I into total resistance offered by the circuit Rp by R1. Therefore, I by R1, this Rp can be written as, if this is simplified, what you will get? R1, R2, R3 by R2, R3 plus R1, R3 plus R1, R2. This is what we are going to get. Now R1, R1 gets cancelled. So finally, I1 is equal to what? I into R2, R3 by R2, R3 plus R1, R3 plus R1, R2. Similarly, I2 can be written as total current in the circuit I into, if I1 is here, R1 is missing in the numerator. If I2 is here, R2 will miss, and what you will have, R1, R3 by, and the denominator will be same in all the cases, R2, R3 plus, R1, R3 plus, R1, R2. Similarly, you can talk about I3 also. So like this we have discussed about few points in connection with the combination of resistances, isn't it? Now let us try to solve some problems based on these details, and we have also discussed about temperature dependence of resistance and resistivity, isn't it? So let us try to solve few problems. We are going to solve few basic problems, because unless we deal with Kirchhoff laws and Wheatstone's bridge, there are some other topics are there. We cannot actually go in a detailed discussion about problems. Okay, so whatever discussion was completed so far based on this, will deal with few fundamental NEET standard questions. Okay, so let us continue with that. Now let us try to discuss about this problem. What is the question? A wire of resistance 20 ohms is bent in the form of a regular polygon of 6 sides. The effective resistance between the ends of any one side is. So what was done? A wire is taken whose resistance is 20 ohms, and it was bent such that a regular hexagon, regular polygon of 6 sides, in the sense one hexagon was formed. And what he is asking us to find out? He is asking us to find out effective resistance between the ends of any one side. Okay, so let me first construct a hexagon. Right. So regular polygon in the sense all sides are of equal length. Okay. If side lengths are equal, whatever this 20 ohm resistance, this entire wire, let us say wire starting point is this one, like this you have bent this one, and the other end of the wire is connected here. Okay, so now we were having a regular polygon of 6 sides, hexagon, each side is of same length. Then what is the resistance of each side? See, resistance is directly proportional to L, isn't it? It is connected with L like that. Since a 20 ohm resistance wire is divided into 6 equal parts here, isn't it? It's not divided actually. It was bent such that each side, all the sides are of same length, isn't it? So each side's resistance will be how much? 20 by 6. Yes, that simple. So each side resistance is how much? 20 by 6 ohms. Now let us say I wanted to find out effective resistance between point A and point B. What he is asking? He is asking for effective resistance between the ends of any one side. I have taken this side and I wanted to find out effective resistance between these two ends. With respect to these two ends, this side, this one, this one, this one, this one, all are in series, isn't it? And how many such kinds of sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And each side is having resistance equal to 20 by 6. So the effective resistance of all these 5 sides is equal to how much? 5 into 20 by 6. Because in series combination, what you do? You are going to add all these resistances, right? You can consider something like this. Let us say the bottom one is this one. This is another resistance. This is another resistance. This is another one. Like this. Okay, I'll imagine like this. So what is each resistor's resistance here? 20 by 6 ohms. This one, this one, this one, this one, all these 5 resistances are in series with respect to these 2 points, isn't it? If they are in series, effective resistance RS will be how much? 20 by 6 plus 20 by 6 plus 20 by 6 plus 20 by 6 plus 20 by 6. So you will have 5 into 20 by 6, which is equal to 100 by 6 ohms. Now I am going to draw one more diagram. I will replace all these 5 resistances with a single resistance whose resistance is equal to how much? 100 by 6 ohms, because just now we came to know that this entire length's resistance is equal to 100 by 6. So now I am going to replace this entire part with what? 100 by 6 ohm resistance, something like this. A, B, this resistance is drawn first, and how much is the resistance of this side? 20 by 6, and the rest of all other sides resistance is how much? 100 by 6 ohms. Now see, 100 by 6 ohms resistance and 20 by 6 ohms resistance both are in parallel combination, isn't it? So what is effective resistance in the parallel combination? Rp is equal to, in fact you write it as R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. This is what effective resistance in the parallel combination, isn't it? So I will take R1 as 20 by 6 into R2 as 100 by 6, 20 by 6 plus 100 by 6. Finally what I will get? 20 by 6 plus 100 by 6, it's 120 by 6. 120 by 6 is again 20. So you will have 20 by 6 into 100 by 6 into 1 by 20. 20 gets cancelled. So finally the answer is 100 by 36, or you can simplify this as 50 by 18, something like this. This is what actually given in the options, 50 by 18 ohms. So see children, what I have done here, whatever wire is taken, with that wire I have constructed one regular hexagon. In case of regular hexagon, each side length is same. If lengths are same, each side's resistances will be same. Okay, the total resistance is how much? 20 ohms. Then each side's resistance will be how much? 20 by 6, isn't it? Like that, one equivalent diagram was drawn. Usually we are familiar with these kind of symbols, right? This is what resistor symbol. So I have replaced each side with a resistor, and each resistor's resistance is how much? 20 by 6. Now I have chosen this side. Across this side I wanted to find out the resistance. Okay, so when I take this side as reference, the other resistances will be in series, and that will be parallel to this one. So the other resistance, effective resistance is how much? 100 by 6. And I have drawn one more equivalent diagram. I have replaced all these 5 resistances with one single resistance whose resistance is equal to 100 by 6, because the contribution of these 5 resistances to the total resistance is how much? 100 by 6. Okay, so 100 by 6 and 20 by 6 both are parallel combination. So when you go with the parallel combination, this is what you will get. Okay, so that's how you can solve this. So let us discuss about one more problem. What is this? 3 resistances 5, 10, 12 ohms are parallel. The current through 10 ohm resistor is 2 amps. The current through other resistors are. As I said, students, whatever problems right now I am discussing, these are very basic fundamental problems of NEET standard, and further when we discuss rest of the topics, we'll be able to handle some little circuital related models. There several other concepts will be involved. Okay, so let us try to solve this one. What was said, 3 resistances were given: 5 ohm resistance, 10 ohm resistance and 12 ohm resistance, and they were arranged in parallel combination like this. I'll call this as 5 ohm resistor, this as 10 ohm resistor, and this as 12 ohm resistor. And it was mentioned that through 10 ohm resistor, a 2 amp current is flowing. How much is the current? 2 amp. So I'll take this as I1, this as I3, and this is our I2. Okay. Now let us try to find out what I1 is. If you wanted to find out I1, you need the total current expression, isn't it? For example, let us first try to find out I2. I2 can be written like this: I into R1 R3 by R1 R2 plus R2 R3 plus R3 R1. Just when I have recollected all the formulae, all the equations that we have derived, I have given this equation. I2 can be written as I R1 R3 by R1 R2 plus R2 R3 plus R3 R1. For all the currents, this denominator will be same. If you are dealing with I2, R2 will be missing in the numerator. If you are dealing with I1, R1 will be missing in the numerator. If you are dealing with I3, R3 will be missing in the numerator. That's how very quickly you can remember things and you can put it on the paper. Now I2 is already given. How much is that? It's given as 2 ohms. So 2 is equal to, we don't know this I, total current, I into R1 R3. This is R1, this is R2, this is R3. R1 into R3, 5 12 are 60, isn't it? By R1 R2, 5 10 are 50 plus R2 R3 10 into 12 120 plus R3 R1 5 into 12 60. Okay. So 50 20 170 230 230 into 2, or you can do like this 30. Therefore I is equal to, this is how much, 230 divided by 30. So what you will get, 23 by 3 amperes. So this is the total current in the circuit. Now let us find out what I1 is, because when I write equation for I1, there in the numerator I will be there, total current in the circuit. So with the help of data given related to 10 ohms resistance, we were able to find out what I is. I comes out to be as 23 by 3 amperes. Let us find out I1. So I1 is equal to I into, if I1 is given in the numerator, R1 will be missing. So you will have R2 R3 by, and in the denominator R1 R2 plus R2 R3 plus R3 R1. I is how much, 23 by 3 into R2 R3, 10 into 12, how much, 120. And in the denominator, earlier we have calculated how much is that, 50 plus 120, 170, 170 plus 60, 230. Directly you can write 230 here. Okay. This is how much, 40. 23 into 40 by 230. 23 gets cancelled, 4 amperes. So I1 is how much, 4 amperes. Similarly, let us try to find out what I3 is. I3 is equal to, how it can be written, similarly if I3 is taken, R3 will be missing in the numerator, R1 R2 by, in the denominator R1 R2 plus R2 R3 plus R3 R1. This is what you will get. And I is how much, 23 by 3, R1 R2 5 into 10, that's 50, divided by, in the denominator what you will have, 50 plus 120 plus 60, which is 230, isn't it? So 23 into 50 by 3 into 230, 0 gets cancelled, 23 gets cancelled. So finally the answer is 5 by 3 amperes. So I3 value is 5 by 3 amperes and I1 value is 4 amperes. So the answer is 4 amperes and 5 by 3 amperes. Okay. Let us solve one more problem. Now let us try to solve this question. What was said, at 30 degrees Celsius, the resistance of a conductor is 5 ohms. The temperature at which the resistance becomes 5.2 ohms is, temperature coefficient of resistance is equal to 0.001 per degree Celsius. What kind of material it is, it was not mentioned in the question. It is not required. So what is our goal here? There is a resistor of resistance 5 ohms. Its resistance should be increased to 5.2 ohms. What we have to do, if resistance has to be increased, we have to heat it. We can do that, isn't it? So to what temperature it must be taken to, so that finally its resistance becomes 5.2 ohms. We have to find out that final temperature. Now I'll assume that initial temperature I'll take first. I'll take initial temperature as theta 1. Let it be 30 degrees Celsius. Let final temperature is theta 2, and we don't know how much is that. And initial resistance is R1, how much, 5 ohms. Final resistance is also given 5.2 ohms. Temperature coefficient of resistance, it is denoted with what, alpha. It is given as 0.001 per degree Celsius, or you can write this as 10 power minus 3 per degree Celsius. Okay. So we have already discussed about concern theory. How do we write this? R2 is equal to R1 into 1 plus alpha delta theta. So this is how we write. Okay. Or let me simplify this, R1 plus R1 alpha delta theta. Therefore R2 minus R1 is equal to R1 alpha delta theta. R2 minus R1 by R1 into alpha is equal to delta theta. This delta theta can be written as theta 2 minus theta 1. Already theta 1 is given, we have to find out theta 2. So let me substitute all the given data here. What is the given data? R2 is given as 5.2 minus R1 is 5 divided by R1 5 into alpha is how much? 10 power minus 3. Alpha is 10 power minus 3. This is equal to, we have to find out theta 2 minus theta 1 is given as 30 degrees Celsius. So here 5.2 minus 5, 0.2 by 5 into 10 power minus 3 is equal to theta 2 minus 30 degrees Celsius. So 10 power minus 3, it goes to the numerator, it becomes 10 power 3, then you will have 200, 200 by 5 is 40. So 40 is equal to theta 2 minus 30 degrees Celsius. Therefore, theta 2 is equal to how much? 40 plus 30, which is 70. It means the given conductor must be taken to a temperature equal to 70 degrees Celsius. So that how much will be the rise in resistance? 0.2. Final resistance will be 5.2 ohms. Okay, and try to understand this picture. Initially, it was maintained at a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. This problem gives us an idea about at what rate this increase in resistance may occur. Some of you might be thinking that even if from 30 to at least if it was taken to 35 or 40, then there will be significant rise in what resistance. No, see here it was raised to 70 degrees Celsius. Initially it is at 30. So how much is the rise in temperature? 40 degrees Celsius rise in temperature is there, but how much is the rise in resistance? 0.2, very small resistance change, isn't it? And I already told you about Manganin and Constantine in the previous class. Okay, so those two almost they don't respond for temperature fluctuations. Okay, so these are the problems. Okay, in the next session we will continue with further theory, and again we'll get back to effective resistance. Okay, so we can have more number of models for discussion. Okay, students, thank you.